Alright, this is a select, what is it, Bosworth, it's the company, Y valve, and this is the one I took out of my boat in my last video. I plan on using. They're not that expensive, maybe like 20 bucks, but may as well try to fix it up. Just in case anyone ever comes across one of these, how you take them apart, you just unscrew it on the top. The handle comes off. Unscrew the sides with those bolts. I'd already done that. This cover comes off. And now you got this O-ring. These O-rings can be known to leak anyway. The best way I found to get it out is just take a right angle Harbor Freight pick, jam it in there, and pop it out. And then, this might be a little tough if it's seized, but you stick your finger in it and really press out, and the inner part presses right out. And you got, looks like the rubber seal. I don't know if they make a rebuild for this guy. And you got your Y valve, which I'm just gonna take now and just take it over to my sink and clean all these up. See if I can replace this O-ring and put it back together. See if it works a little bit better. Thank you. All right, I got it all cleaned up now. Mostly, good enough. And we're gonna put it back together. So I got a new O-ring, which if you're into boats, it's worthwhile having a O-ring assortment kit so you don't have to run to the hardware store every time. And if you're actually on the boat, you're not gonna be able to get to the hardware store. So how to put it back together. I have these little super lubes left over from when I rebuilt the toilet. I'm pretty sure they're the exact same thing as the super lube they sell at the hardware store. So I'm gonna lube up all the rubber parts when we put them back together, just so this thing smooth gets in. So put the rubber. I didn't replace this part because I didn't have it, so we'll find out if this works really well. Let's see, we know that pops right in. Also my new O-ring will also hit it with a little bit of lube. These O-rings are like the known failure point on these. They can cause leaks, and this is gonna be stinky water coming out of the toilet, so that would be an annoying leak. All right, now this guy, when you put him back on, you got to remember alignment. So right there, because it blocks it, so this will always be the main intake, and then it can shoot out either of those sides. The little annoying moments of putting things back together when the bolts just won't connect. You may wonder, people will say this to me all the time, is it worth even doing this? I mean, the new one of these is only like 20 bucks. Why is it worth spending an hour taking this thing apart? And, hear the old, well, I could have just worked for an hour and then I would have made enough money and yada, yada, yada. But here's the thing. First, who the heck wants to go to work when you could be working on your boat, in your kitchen? But second, it's not so much about the money saved. it's, you know, when you take this thing apart in your kitchen, when it fails out on your boat, then, well, then you kind of know how it works, and you're not as stressed, and you need to pack a set of O-rings, and you have some super lube, and you put it back together and clean up your stinking head, and you don't have to go back home, and, you know, because your wife doesn't want to be on the boat in the, with a non-working head that leaks out of the Y valve. So you spend a few minutes at home and figure out how stuff works, and it saves you a whole weekend that your wife would have cut short had your head failed. So just food for thought there. All right, now we test it out. Freshly lubed, turns pretty good. Of course, I won't really know until it's hooked up to the water and we see it's not leaking, but I'll tell you, before, this thing was completely seized. And if you don't know how they work, it just goes out that way, flip the valve, and now it goes out that way. That's it. Simple Y valve rebuild. Thank you.